Dracula has been a long-standing legend at this point, but did you know there's real history behind the character? Welcome to Paranormal Historian. So much media, including books, movies, and TV, has been made after the original Dracula character was created by Bram Stoker in 1897 for the iconic tale of the same name. It's hard to imagine any part of the character being based in our reality. Let me help things out. For starters, the name Dracula is actually based historically on a real person. It's not actually that made up. Vlad Tepes, or Vlad Dracula, was a 15th century warrior prince. The name Dracula, son of Dracul, comes from the Latin word Draco, which means dragon. Vlad's father was inducted into the Order of the Dragon. Sound familiar? This order was created by the Holy Roman Emperor Sigismund for the defense of Eastern Europe from the Ottoman Empire. Please keep in mind that we're talking about the real Vlad Dracula, not the fictional character. Now is probably a good time to clear up that Transylvania is actually a real place, encompassing present-day central Romania. In fact, Vlad Dracula was actually born there in 1431. However, unlike the original tale, he did not rule there. Vlad moved to Targoviste, Wallachia in 1436, when his father assumed leadership of the Principality of present-day southern Romania. Vlad would rule this area after his father being assassinated and him struggling to regain his seat until he was fully victorious in 1456. That's 8 years later. While the fictional vampire character was created to be scary, the real person it's based off of is just as disturbing. Once the real Vlad actually regained his father's ruling seat, he wasted no time showing his enemies what he was prepared to do to protect Wallachia against the Ottoman Empire. He earned the name Vlad the Impaler for, you guessed it, putting stakes on the ground and impaling his enemies, then leaving them to die. Famously, in 1462, he left a field of thousands of impaled victims as a deterrent from pursuing Ottoman forces. He would eventually die in battle in 1476. He is still considered a folk hero to this day for his efforts against the Ottoman Empire. No conversation about Dracula is complete without exploring the history of vampires as a whole. While the concept of vampire as we know is primarily an Eastern European concept, stories of blood-drinking creatures can be traced back to ancient civilizations like the Greeks, Mesopotamians, and Hebrews, who had tales of demonic entities with similar attributes. Historically, vampires are actually more closely linked to disease rather than some monstrous mutation. Vampire superstition thrived in the Middle Ages, especially as the plague decimated entire towns. The disease often left behind bleeding mouth lesions on its victims, which, to the uneducated, was a sure sign of vampirism. It wasn't uncommon for anyone with an unfamiliar physical or emotional illness to be labeled a vampire. Many researchers have pointed to porphyria, a blood disorder that can cause severe blisters on skin that's exposed to sunlight. Sound familiar? This is a disease that may be linked to the vampire legend. The most famous case of vampire hysteria was in 1892 in New England. After suffering from tuberculosis for years, Mercy Brown's father passed away. After several family members passed, it was assumed the undead or vampirism was the cause. The hysteria was so great that bodies would be exhumed to check for signs of vampirism. When Mercy Brown's body was exhumed, her face was flush and there was blood in her heart. Never mind the fact that she was buried in the dead of winter, now decomposition was slower. They seriously used this woman as a scapegoat for her family's tuberculosis deaths. While Dracula the vampire is a fictional character, the history behind it can be just as scary. Have a topic you want me to cover? Leave it in the comments section below. Or message me via email at paranormalhistorianmd@gmail.com. Thanks for watching and subscribe and absolutely follow. See you guys on the next video.